Hello from the floor. Welcome back to the second part of this project, in which I make an overdress for the underdress that you saw me making previously. So for this one, I'm sure you remember the drawing. If you don't, oof. Here it is again. So it's got this lovely little overdress that goes over it. Please focus. Not on me. Focus. There you go. So there's an overdress that goes over the underdress. It has this fairly thin straps, comes down like this, and then comes to the waist. There's a waist seam, then there's basically a giant skirt. So I went to Fabricland and I bought this off of their clearance rack. I bought the rest of the bolt, which was 1.9 meters. Don't ask me what that is in yards, because we don't use imperial up here for that kind of nonsense. So I'll be using this for the overdress. It's a twill fabric, which is a type of weave for the fabric. It's basically the same fabric that your jeans are made out of, but it's a lovely shade of emerald green that works really well with the underdress fabric, which is this. I think they look very nice together. So to make this, the first step is making the bodice. So the bodice is a very tightly fitted garment, and it needs to be made fairly precisely to your measurements. So in order to do that, I started making a draft of a generic bodice, which I can't remember the name of right now, but it's a special technique thing, and it's like a blank bodice that you can turn into whatever you want. In this case, I am making a bodice for top, but I will be able to modify this pattern later on for many things. I'll leave the video I used to learn how to do this in the doobly-doo down below, if you would like to also do this thing. So what I ended up with was this pattern. This is draft 2 of the front and draft 1 of the back, because the back actually fits quite well. The front, I used the wrong bust measurement the first time I did it, so I had to redraft it bigger. Now, the mock-up that I made is here. So this is mock-up take 2 I made. And as you can see, it mostly fits this time. The only problem is that it does not meet in the front. It is consistent all the way down how far apart it is, though. I checked when I was trying this on the first time off camera because I forgot to turn the camera on. It is exactly 4 inches apart all the way down center front. So, plus the seams under the arms are set a little farther back than they technically should be. So my solution to this problem is I am literally just going to add an inch to the center front seam on either side, so that's 2 inches on the front, and then I'm also going to add an inch to the back piece, so that I have an extra 2 inches in the back. So that'll bring it an extra inch towards the front here, and then it'll bring an extra 2 inches in here, which will make up the 4-inch difference I have here in the gap. Now, this is being tightly fitted to my measurements themselves, because what I'm wearing underneath this particular dress is a fairly thick material. It won't fit as tightly. So technically I should be adding ease, but what I'm actually going to do, because this is lacing up the front, I'm not actually as worried about making them meet in the middle, because if I have the lacing done up and I have a gap down the middle, it actually works really well for the aesthetic I'm going for, with like the medieval-ish thing. So we're gonna go with that, and I'm going to basically just fit this. I'm gonna make one more mock-up out of the mock-up fabric. I'm not gonna use this one again because it is super delicate. And once that mock-up is done, I will hopefully have a base pattern I can use, then I'll retrace it into the shape that I want for the new bodice. The one main thing that I will say about this is it includes the hip measurement down here. I will only be using up to the waist measurement, which is here. So I'll only technically be using this much of the pattern instead of the whole thing, because I'm ending it right at the waist, so that at that point I can then take whatever is left of the good fabric. It is, I believe, 60 inches wide, so it's going to be a 30-inch long skirt, and then cut it in half and sew it all into a big tube and then gather it, so I'll have a really nice gathered poofy skirt that comes out right from the waist, so it'll be nice and poofy, and hopefully that way I can also put pockets inside seams, because it's not a good dress unless it has pockets. Alright, so I'm going to go make the modifications to the pattern to add the extra inches to, that I need, make my second mock-up, and be back to report on it. Hello, I'm back, and in the mock-up still. So I did have to make a couple of adjustments to this. I had to take in some under the arm because it was ridiculous here. So the second modification that I made, where I had to expand the bust, as soon as I added those 4 inches everywhere else, needed to be removed. So I removed that. As you can see, it fits really nicely now. So I'm considering this done. Incidentally, it's called a bodice block, which I remembered halfway through making it. So the next step is to turn this into a fitted garment. It's going to end here, right at my waist. And I'm going to create, I think, a little sweetheart, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to put on my mannequin and like cut away all the stuff that I don't need, basically. Which, now that I think about it, I think I'll do now. Okay, so the actual fabric is in the dryer right now. So we are going to make a final mock-up that out of this fabric, which was my original fabric I was going to use but decided I didn't like it as much. Plus I didn't have enough of it to do what I wanted with the skirts, so here we are. I'm going to use this and I'm going to mock up the bodice with it. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to make sure that it's going to actually fit. Plus, if this works, I can use this mock-up as the lining for the actual fabric, and give it a little bit of extra structural strength too, because the other one is a twill weave which stretches a little bit over time. This one will not stretch. It is a standard straight woven fabric as opposed to a twill weave. So this is not gonna move. I can't get these wrinkles out because they've been put in there over the course of 20 years. 20 years. No, that's a lie. Wait, am I lying? When did I redo my bedroom with these curtains as a child? No, these... Oh shit, it has been almost 20 years. Good times. We're going to be using some 20-year-old curtain scraps to make a mock-up bodice this morning. So that's fun. Somewhere in that range. Pretty sure I got these at IKEA as well, which I find incredibly entertaining because I have IKEA blanket dress and now I have potentially IKEA curtain lining, which, you know, I don't know. I just find it funny. Oh, that's why it's not steaming very well. It'd help if I had water in my iron. Probably. There we go. There we go. That's working much better. They've been folded like this since I cut them off from the bottom of the curtains. So, these wrinkles are really in there, if you know what I mean. Heck, they might have been put there since the packaging. Can I speak today? Probably not. Should probably go drink some more of my hot chocolate, but it's behind me. I don't feel like turning around right now. Okay. Ironed fabric. Ahoy. And bodice pattern. And I'm gonna grab the things that I just got in the mail from Amazon yesterday. Hopefully these work. The reviews were mixed. So this is a erasable pen. Like a chalk pen, essentially. Yeah. That didn't work. You know what? I'm not going to use these. I'm going to use the other thing I got in the mail. Which is Taylor's Chalk Boys. Look at these. It's like a little triangle chalk, which is very nice when marking on dark fabrics. I also got blue, yellow, and red, and I think they were like, I don't know, $15 for like 12 of them. Alright, that's all done. Time to sew it together. So I'm gonna go sew side seams and shoulder seams and I will be back. Probably. Maybe. We'll see. And here we go. It's all ready to go. It actually fits really well. The only places I'm not entirely happy with is under the armpits, but I'm afraid if I go any lower on the armpits, I won't have any structural integrity left on the sides. Yeah. I can fuss with it a bit once I have the top layer on as well. So, overall, I'm happy with that, and I am going to go forward with that. And we will basically be turning this into what amounts to a vest and then mount a giant skirt to it. So we're going to head to do that as soon as my fabric is out of the dryer. So we'll see when that happens. Ta-da! I'm so pleased with it. It looks so cute. This little bodice. Oh my god. Look at it. It's beautiful. Of course there's going to be eyelets to do it up later, but like it hits almost exactly in my natural waist. It fits really well. Like the finish on it is so nice because I did all of it as hand stitching. I am so pleased with this tiny little bodice. So pleased. Once I get it over that, it's gonna look fantastic, guys. Just fantastic. I guess next up is the skirt, which is exciting. Which is literally the rest of the fabric on the floor gathered up right here and just poof away from the body. Giant skirt. I am going to put pockets in it, obviously, because it is a dress and therefore it needs pockets. Which means I need to now measure how far down I want those pockets to go. Where is my tape measure? Yep. Hey. So, from the edge of the bodice here, measure down to about where I want the pockets to start, which is about here. So it's going to be about 7 inches down from there. Yeah, and then I'll have to add 1/2 inch for the seam allowance that I need at the top to attach the skirt to the bodice. And yeah, that'll be good. I'm so happy.